that is as large and robust and economically viable as theirs is getting money from us just makes no sense at all. I would stop sending foreign aid to countries that can take care of themselves.
Is Romney right? The U.S., with a $189.3 billion trade deficit with China, is giving foreign aid to Beijing? Yes, but
it doesn't go to the government. It goes.
China expert Douglas Paul has served with the State Department, the CIA, and the National Security Council.
It goes for local organizations to try to do some of the things that people in America would like our Congress to support.
Things like fighting the spread of infectious diseases, law enforcement, fighting narcotics, environmental cooperation, and programs in Tibet where some want independence from Beijing. Would saving $10 million help pay down the U.S. budget deficit, now at $15 trillion? Hardly, and Romney admits it.
It's not very much money, but just the idea.
2 years ago, the State Department says the U.S. gave China more than $27 million. Now, State is requesting less than half that, as China transitions from aid recipient to aid donor. Mitt Romney thinks that's a great idea.
It doesn't make a lot of sense for us to borrow money from the Chinese to go give to another country for humanitarian aid. We ought to get the Chinese to take care of the people.
But is it?
China tends to benefit its own contractors with its assistance. It does deals where they provide infrastructure, construction in exchange for commodities. And these are non-market transactions, often not transparent transactions. And this is not the sort of thing, I hope this is not the sort of thing that Governor Romney had in mind.
Chinese aid often has political strings attached, and letting the U.S. simply stand back and allow China to project its power around the world could backfire for Washington.
In light of the ongoing crackdown on civilians, the Arab League has announced the suspension of the membership of Syria. The regional body has also called for sanctions against the regime of President al-Assad. The announcement came in an emergency meeting of the League at its headquarters in Cairo, following weeks of deadly violence in the Syrian city of Homs. Media reports say at least 125 people were killed in the past few days. CNN's Ben Widerman has more.
Certainly is. If you look back over the history of the body going back to 1945, one of its strongest decisions, certainly suspending Syria from the Arab League, is almost, but not completely, unprecedented. That suspension will go into effect on the 16th of November or until Syria implements this Arab Action Plan. Now, the problem, of course, is that the Arab League doesn't really have much in the way to compel Syria to live up to its commitment to this action plan, although we did hear the Qatari foreign minister say that there would be consequences if Syria didn't live up to its commitments. This is what he said.
If they do not abide by the decision of the League and abide by the agreement of the League and stop the killing and allow media in and release political prisoners, this will complicate matters, and we do not wish or hope for this.
But of course, Syria is clearly going to be very hesitant to release the tens of thousands of prisoners it's detained since the beginning of this uprising 8 months ago. And as one member of the opposition told me, if the Syrian army pulls its forces off the streets of Syrian towns and cities, they believe that hundreds of thousands of people will come out, and it could very well lead to the fall of the regime of Bashar al-Assad. Jonathan?
Ben Wiedemann, live.
We'll take a second break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. It's now time for the weather report from the Central Forecast Office.
The Gambia is endowed with a wonderful landscape full of baobab trees. Like its Cape Point in Bakau, it is one of the most exotic sceneries in the world. The baobab tree is a symbol of resilience, wisdom, and resourcefulness. For the baobab tree provides good food in times of hunger, rents its bark for medications, and its sap for glue. In the Gambia, there is a company like the Baobab tree, 100% African and purely Gambian in all aspects. In know-how, design, value, capital, and management. That company is Elton. Elton, employing hundreds of Gambians and proudly associating itself with development in the Gambia. Elton, side by side with the Gambia.
And before we go, a reminder of our headlines. Dozens of Alhajis and Ajaratus have jetted into Banjul after fulfilling Islam's fifth pillar, the Hajj. The chairman of the Independent Electoral Commission, Alhaji Mustafa El Karayol, has promised a free and fair presidential election. The Arab League has purged Syria from its ranks and called for sanctions against Damascus, this as the Assad regime continues its deadly crackdown on dissent. And Republican presidential hopeful and influential former governor Mitt Romney has urged the U.S. to stop giving aid to China, citing the over $180 billion trade deficit with China. You can also follow that story and other Grts programs live on our website at www.grts.gm. There you can also monitor Grts Radio Live. And before we leave, we'll just bring this announcement once again. The Deputy Governor of the Lower River Region, Majanko Samusa, is hereby requested to report to Banjul immediately and start mobilizing the youths the way he normally does it ahead of the commencement of the tour by the APRC team, which will kick off tomorrow, Sunday, 13 November 2011. A media release is urging Mr. Samusa to start making the necessary arrangements and inform the Bureau as to where the youths are to be picked. That brings us to the end of the news. Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned and enjoy a range of interesting programs. And I'm Fatou Sane Sise. Bye.
قل لله المشرق والمغرب يهدي من يشاء إلى صراط مستقيم ذلك جعلناكم أمة